Hello, friends, and welcome to the first ever Good News New York Sports Minute. I don't know if this is going to be a regular segment. Let's just see how it goes. Those of you that know me know I love comedy and music, but I also love sports, particularly NFL football and my beloved Buffalo Bills. Now, every year, I've raved about this on the show. I love March and April, mostly for the weather, but mostly for the sports that are on. March Madness. You've got the opening day of baseball. You've got the Masters, and of course, the NFL draft. Now, I'm not the only one who is a draft dork. There are a ton of NFL draft dorks, and a lot of us that claim to know what we're talking about. And I partake every year, and I post on social media my mock drafts, which you can see. I have my first round mock draft of all 32 teams, 1.0. It's my first one. And I like to do it every year, and you know what? I'm usually dead wrong. I'll get a few picks here and there. One of these years, I'm going to just really nail it. Well, maybe it's this year. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the draft and talk about it with you. So let's start, okay? Now, if you notice up on the board here, I want to talk about the first few picks first. Now, look, I feel like every year during the NFL draft, the first 5 picks, it's tough to know, right? I mean, we can't tell the future. But in this case, it's nearly impossible because there are so many opportunities for teams to trade up and trade out. Particularly, I'm looking at number 4, the New England Patriots. This is a team that is in rebuild mode. Obviously, they do need a left tackle, and a left tackle is an anchor position, right? QB, left tackle, defensive end. Those are 3 of the primary positions, and they need them all. So I feel like, depending on how the first 3 picks go, they have a really good chance to slide down a couple spots, get some more picks, and really build around their quarterback, who I'm blanking out on. Oh, Drake May. There it is. Now, with that being said, there is one offensive tackle in this draft that is NFL pro ready, and that is offensive tackle Will Campbell from LSU. Now, I say that, but I have them drafting Abdul Carter. So let's go into the first few picks real quick. I have Cam Ward going to the Tennessee Titans. It's a little weird for me because Cam Ward is not, when you do the big board, he's like the 14th ranked athlete in the entire draft. So why would he go number 1 overall, especially over Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, who are obviously the best players in the draft? Well, that's because sometimes positions override the rankings. And what I mean by that is the most important position in football is quarterback. The most position, honestly, one of the most important positions in all of sports is quarterback. And right now, the only quarterback that is separating themselves a tier above the rest of them are Cam Ward. I think it's pretty obvious that's the route they're going to go. It's been reported pretty heavily that's the route they're going to take. So I went chalk on that one. And this is where it gets a little tricky. When I got to Cleveland, I mean, let's think about this. Cleveland has the ability to draft Abdul Carter. Just imagine going into a game and having to face Abdul Carter on the right and Myles Garrett on the left, or maybe it's the other way around. Who knows? 2 of the best defensive ends potentially in the NFL. That is a scary game to have to game plan for. Then you think about, okay, let's say that happens. Let's say the New York Giants take Travis Hunter, who I have them taking at number 3. Well, can you imagine Malik Neighbors and Travis Hunter lining up? That's a hell of a thing to game plan for. So those are 2 scenarios that I think would be absolutely insane to think about Travis Hunter, Malik Neighbors together, Abdul Carter, Garrett Wilson together. But I still don't think that's how it shakes out. I went with Cam Ward at 1. At number 2, I went with Shedeur Sanders. Now, again, is he the second best player in the draft? Is he the second best quarterback? Arguably, yeah, but I don't know. I did have Cleveland taking them. Why? Because, look, there's a few reasons, and they're good reasons. I think they should take Abdul Carter. But if they go with Shedeur Sanders, there's a couple things that does. They are in a monster of a mess with their draft picks and their draft capital because of the horrendous goddamn deal that they did to get Deshaun Watson. So they don't really have the ability to trade for some of the guys that are still out there, like Kirk Cousins, right? So why not grab someone on a rookie contract? And at number 2, who else is there that's worth picking at number 2 than Shedeur Sanders? And I think, given his track record and how he's turned different organizations around in college and high school and now the NFL, I think that they're going to have to go with that. Now, with that being said, I also chose it because in a recent interview, and I'm reading between the tea leaves here, Myles Garrett was asked, why did he make a stink about wanting to be traded away from Cleveland and then all of a sudden came back? And so a lot of people speculated that it was because he knows who the quarterback's going to be. And now he's thinking, okay, maybe I can win here. Well, when he was being interviewed about that, not only did he say he knew who the quarterback was, but he started rambling about, developing a young talent, which led me to believe they might draft Shedeur Sanders or another quarterback. Now, I also think there is the potential, and this would be buck wild, but I also think there is the potential that the Tennessee Titans at 1 and the Cleveland Browns at number 2, they could go with a Travis Hunter and then an Abdul Carter, and both, depending on their draft capital, could trade back into the first and then go get their guys. Imagine if the Titans drafted Travis Hunter at 1, traded back in later to get Shedeur Sanders, his college quarterback. Or the Cleveland Browns doing the same exact thing, going Abdul Carter and then coming back to get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, depending on who's available. So we've got Cam Ward at 1, we've got Shedeur Sanders at 2, Travis Hunter at 3, and Abdul Carter at 4. But I'm going to stop there because that really is the flow of the whole draft. It's kind of pointless to keep going and explain all my picks. Obviously, you can see them, and I will post it in the comments, and I'm sure we'll throw it up on the screen here so you can see all my picks. But I think like all drafts, those first 4 picks are going to dictate how the rest of the draft falls. And ain't nobody got time for that right now. With that being said, I did want to move on to a couple teams that I think I'm most interested in trading up or trading back. One being New England, which I talked about. They have not only the need for multiple positions, including offensive tackle, but they need to build a lot more than just offensive tackle. They need a little bit of everything. Now, they've beefed up on the defense a little bit in free agency, but I think if they slid, and I'm not talking anything crazy, I'm talking if they slide down to, let's say, 7 at the New York Jets, right? But it also depends on how bad they want Will Campbell and if they think the other guys around them are going to take him. Now, I want to talk about a few under-the-radar players that maybe the mainstream media hasn't really talked about. And these are guys that I genuinely watched tape or film, as they call it, on for my own reasons, one being I'm a huge draft dork. At wide receiver, there are a couple guys I absolutely love. One of them being Kyle Williams, the other being Elijah Badger, and then my absolute favorite, wide receiver Kobe Hudson from UCF. This guy reminds me of Diggs when he gets off the line. I have heard nobody talk about him. I've heard a little grumbling about Kyle Williams, a little bit about Elijah Badger, but nothing on Kobe Hudson. Check him out if your team is in the need for a wide receiver. At QB, I am mind-boggled when I watch the tape of Jalen Milroe. Why? Because he actually blows me away more than Cam Ward and more than Shedeur Sanders. I don't know if he's better than them, but the tape certainly makes him look like he's not only the best quarterback in the draft, but certainly a top 10. Now, when I looked up why, it seems there was a lot of inconsistencies with him at Alabama. So I guess there was enough inconsistency to where they think he could fall to late first round, maybe even second, third round. I think 2 teams that particularly are going to have their eyes on him are the Pittsburgh Steelers, and even more, I think the New York Giants, especially if the Giants go with Travis Hunter, which I think they will. I think they will have enough to trade back in or even on their second pick or later on be able to grab Jalen Milroe, and we know that Brian Dable, the head coach, is a big Alabama guy. So that's something to watch. But under the radar for QB, other than Jalen Milroe, Tyler Shuck from Louisville. I don't know if he's considered under the radar at this point. He's been talked about. He's the oldest QB in the draft. but he shows a ton of signs that he could transition into the NFL and be a competent backup or maybe a starter. But there is a guy named Will Howard from Ohio State, and after watching his pro day and some of the film of his games, I think this is a quarterback that is comfortable in the pocket, can deliver the throw in the windows they need to be thrown, and he played in a program that is one of the more NFL-style programs. So if your team's in need of a quarterback, Jalen Milroe, Tyler Shuck, Will Howard. Obviously, I love Jackson Dart and a few other guys, but those are three to keep your eye on. At defensive tackle, there's a guy named Alfred Collins, man. The dude's like a condor. His arms are as long as this damn table. He's not your one technique stuff up the middle. He's more of your three technique, right? That's going to do more for pass rushing, but he's just an absolute beast, and I just loved watching him. So check him out. As well at safety. Now, it might be crazy that I'm saying Eamon Worry is under the radar because he's talked about as one of the top, if not the top safety. But this dude is ripped. He is big. He is fast. He looks like he could be a generational talent. And they comp him to the safety from the Chargers, who I'm blanking out on right now. But I'll think of it in a second. But absolutely a guy that teams need to keep an eye on. Even if you're looking, your strongest need is corner, he is a safety that could not only help in the secondary with corner, but also playing nickel. There's a lot of things that he can do that I am I'm a big fan of that kid. Real quick, before we go on this New York Sports Minute, obviously, as you know, I'm a huge Bills fan. And there is a specific need at a couple positions for the Bills. Defensive end, defensive tackle, corner, wide receiver are the most glaring. There's not a lot of holes on this roster. Brandon Beane, McDermott have done an insane job of drafting really well over the years. They've had some misses like most GMs do, unless you're Howie Roseman from the Eagles, but that's a different story. So really, this is a draft where they really can draft for need, and because there's not much of it. And corner one would be the number one. Defensive tackle and corner would be probably the two most sought-after positions for the Bills. Now, I think there's a lot more depth at corner than there is at defensive tackle. And I say that, and you're probably thinking, what are you talking about? Everyone's talking about how this is a defensive line heavy draft. It certainly is. But the drop-off from when you get to Mason Graham and other defensive tackles like Walter Nolan, these guys, Kenneth Grant, these guys are on a top tier, and then it just slowly starts to drop off. So you really got to strike early with them. So I'm thinking if the Bills are going to strike early and they're going to go defensive tackle, I like any of them. Particularly, they need a one technique. Now, what a one technique is more of a traditional nose guard, plays off the shoulder of the center or the guard. And that's what they need. The Bills need a run stuffer. So a guy like Alfred Collins, as much as I love him, or Landon Jackson, right? Well, he's defensive end. But any of the D-line guys that I love that are pass rushers, that's fine. But the Bills have Ed Oliver and they have Greg Rousseau. And I think getting a run stuffer is not only what they need, but they also it's going to open up chances for guys like Rousseau and for guys like Ed Oliver to have a better pass rush. I want to see Ed Oliver return to his 2023 form, and I think he does that by sticking a big old fat guy right in the middle. So I ideally I would love if a guy like Kenneth Grant could fall to them, or a Walter Nolan. I just don't know if that's going to happen. Now at corner, my favorite guy. There's a lot of guys I like. Amos. I like the kid from Notre Dame. The kid from East Carolina. The list goes on. But for me, Max Hairston is a beast. Now, they say he's more of a slot corner, and the Bills need more of a boundary corner. But for me, we need a guy that's physical. And Max Hairston is a physical corner that I love. And lastly, my favorite defensive end is Mike Green. This dude is a beast. Now, I have him in my draft going to at number 10 to the Chicago Bears, actually. But anywhere he goes, this guy is a menace. And I want him on the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, again, I would take anybody. But for me, Mike Green, Landon Jackson, and James Pierce would be my three choices if I could say those are the three guys. One of those guys are who I want. And I think that's pretty much it. Watch for New England trading out. Watch for New Orleans trading up. And watch for me being completely wrong. Who knows? All I know is I love the NFL draft. And I love the Buffalo Bills, and I'll be watching. Maybe we'll do a draft special. Maybe I'll do this again. I don't know. But Matt was busy today, and I thought I would share my NFL wisdom with you. Anyway, Mike Brindisi for Good News York on your New York Sports Minute. Let's go Bills.